You're listening to CreepGeeks Podcast. So it begins again. Welcome back to the CreepGeeks Podcast. This is Season 7, Episode 276.
Wampus Cat Cryptid, Asheville NC combats crime, paranormal fan gifts, and parrot friends.
Yeah. All right, so welcome back to the podcast. I'm Greg.
I'm Omi.
We have a lot of stuff to talk about.
Sure do.
So anyway, with the CreepGeeks Podcast, we like to talk about stuff we find to be interesting, and there seems to be a lot of stuff out there, and pretty much none of it's really interesting. Well, it's the same thing. I mean, there's like a glut of UFO sightings and this and that, and, you know, most of it's just like, you know, am I becoming apathetic to the whole UFO thing? Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
It's military.
I sent you a couple
Most of it's military.
missing persons news recently, too. And
Even that's boring.
Yeah.
People go out in the woods and get lost or disappear under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. And, you know, the more I see things on the news, the more I'm starting to get that whole, you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, conspiratorial thing going on where I'm like, what's going on?
True.
What's really trying to be hidden? It's the okie doke, man. I'm not falling for the okie doke. Happens every spring.
What are we not supposed to be paying attention to?
I'm not saying. Not yet. Might do a podcast on it. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like you just get the feeling like, okay. There's just too much stupid stuff going on. So we thought we'd talk about some other stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And this is more of a local thing to us. Being in North Carolina and Western North Carolina, we kind of went through and took a look at some things. And as much as cryptids are out there, cryptid, how do you say it?
Cryptozoology?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say it again. Cryptozoology. Yeah. So that way, maybe I'll stop getting like cryptocurrency ads for everything.
That'll never stop.
I know. It's like, we got contacted on our Instagram. Hey.
Some crypto bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I started to respond with, crypto's not real. But then I figured I would open the door. They'd be like, oh, you know, it's like that Dumb and Dumber where he's like, so there is a chance, like 99 point whatever.
Yeah.
% chance that they're not interested. And so he's like, there is a chance. Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, there you go. There's the show.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. There's a new segment we're going to introduce in this very podcast. And it's basically called Things I Thought We Knew as Fact Already.
Yeah.
So, you know, now here's the deal. If you want to contact the podcast and you want to like, you know, chat with us or maybe talk to us a little bit or relay a story or something like that, we have a toll-free telephone number that you can call and leave a message if you're up to it.
Yep. And that phone number is going to be 575-208-4025.
Yeah. You can hit us up on Facebook. Look for CreepGeeks. You'll find us. We have a website, creepgeeks.com. Instagram. So if you find CreepGeeks, it's us. But anyway, you can kind of reach out to us and say hello. We do appreciate it. So here's the fact.
Okay.
That I thought we knew already. But evidently it's... Okay, so according to this article, more evidence shows the Vikings were in America long before Columbus.
Yeah, we knew that.
I thought we did, but evidently it's news. People don't believe it or something. I don't understand why this isn't like news.
I mean, are they not teaching it in schools?
No, they're not teaching it at school. They don't teach anything in schools. Okay, so everybody thinks that what they learned in school was harder than the previous or than the later generations, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't teach stuff in school. You know, what gets taught in school changes based off the generation. So I'm sure if you really look at it, you're like, wait a minute. I mean, like it happened with, all right, so in Virginia schools around Halloween in the 70s, you got taught all the scary folklore of Virginia. You know, witch duck and all that stuff. They don't even do that anymore. There's a lot of things they don't do. They don't talk about like Jamestown Colony the way they did. They don't even talk about President Washington or George Washington, our first president, the same way.
That's true.
Yeah, so the narrative changes, but Now, when I was going to school, we were never taught that the Vikings were here first.
Yeah.
We were taught, that Columbus discovered or whatever, and Amerigo Vespucci drew the coast and drew the maps and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But, a lot of time has passed since I was in school, and evidently there's been, lots of things that point to the fact that Columbus wasn't first. And what I think is the message has been diluted. Columbus wasn't first in discovering America.
No.
He just made it more popular.
Yeah.
It's like pop culture. You know what I mean? There's always somebody that's done something before you or whatever, but if there's a popular person who says it, or if it's sponsored by big people or whatever, then it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when people make videos, like TikTok videos or shorts or whatever, and they make this cool video, and then somebody famous makes the same video, and the famous person gets a kabillion views, and you get 16 and a thumbs down from somebody who thinks that you stole the video, right? And you're like, oh, why did you do that? It's like, wait a minute, that was my video.
I mean, besides Columbus, you have the Spanish going in through Mexico.
Well,
South America.
Columbus was sponsored by the Spanish and all that, but I mean,
the conquistadors,
there's evidence that.
Yeah, then you have Vikings. You have evidence and theories saying Pacific Islanders and even Egyptians. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that we were all here together anyway, at one point or another. Maybe Pangea, who knows? But still, more evidence shows that Vikings were here long before Columbus. I just thought we knew that.
Yeah.
I guess not. They're finding wood and structures and, people in Greenland were using wood from America, which would kind of say that, well, you had to bring the wood across, right? So according to the IFLscience.com, microscopic analysis of wood suggests that Norse people in Greenland were using timber that came from North America over 700 years ago. And they're saying that and some further evidence that Viking sailors were making contact with the east coast of North America long before Christopher Columbus discovered, in quotes, the New World in 1492 CE.
Yeah. I mean, Leif Erikson, I was trying to figure out the name. That's what I was taught in school. He was a Viking, a Norse Viking, allegedly landing here in North America around 1000 Common Era or...
Yeah. Well, he had an asterisk.
1300s. Yeah.
He was an asterisk. Oh, well, hey, we gotta say something. I mean, depending on who you, there's even the idea from, people out there that the Egyptians came across. And why not? If they could make rigging, a mask and some sails and stuff, then you can cruise across the North Atlantic. I mean, it's scary, but it's not an insurmountable task. Mm-hmm. So who's to say they didn't come across? Because there's allegedly tombs and Egyptian stuff in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
And they've supposedly found hieroglyphics and other Egyptian type things as you cruise across the country. So I don't know. And if you go there, the Grand Canyon, try to find it, the cops will get you.
Allegedly.
The federal cops.
Allegedly.
They're supposed to be like, oh, look at this destroyed rock here. This used to be a sphinx, stuff like that. So you can really dig into it, and you can get into the mud flood and everything else that goes along with that. But I just thought we knew that. So I'm like, am I the only one that's haven't we seen a bunch of just historical TV shows and documentaries and stuff to now to say, okay, yes, Vikings were first?
Are we not teaching this in schools and we're only teaching it in popular media? And that's where...
I don't know. We'd have to ask a school person.
Oh, that's true.
What do you call us? Students. We'd have to ask a student.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was boring, but I thought it was okay, so let's get into some other stuff. Let's talk about the Wampus cat.
Okay.
So in previous podcasts, we sort of hypothesized the possibility of big cats like panthers, mountain lions and stuff like that are in the area. And, according to all the stuff we've seen, they don't exist around here, right?
Which is weird.
And so it's more than likely, like we were saying, that they just don't have enough information to say, based off some arbitrary thing, if you don't have 50 breeding pair of panthers, then they don't exist.
Yeah.
Now, the idea is that this Wampus cat is something that's not just a big cat, because big cats are boring.
Okay.
But if you're going to say that Wampus cat being a big cat is boring, that's like saying a thunderbird being a big bird is boring. Now, when people talk about thunderbirds, they're like, you mean like the pterodactyl looking thing flying around, which is called a rock, I believe,
Yeah.
Or the big bird. To me, a thunderbird is the big bird. The pterodactyl thing flying around is not a thunderbird.
No, but depending on,
Wrong, they're wrong.
different belief structures.
Those would be incorrect.
Okay, whatever.
This is our podcast. We can make the rules.
You can.
So, yeah, absolutely. It says so right here.
But
I'm a completely different species of animal.
okay.
Wampus
cat.
Yeah, it's supposed to be this big cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's got some different descriptors to it. So the Wampus cat is a cryptid, or legendary creature that is said to inhabit the forest of North America. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's typically described as being a large cat-like creature with sharp teeth and claws, and some people believe that the Wampus cat is a descendant of the eastern cougar, which went extinct in the early 1900s. And others believe it's a completely different species of animals.
All right.
So there's been reports of the Wampus cats, like sightings over the years. 1920, a farmer in Yadkin Valley claimed to have shot a Wampus cat that was attacking his livestock.
Yeah.
And the creature was described as being about the size of a bear with long, shaggy coat.
Okay.
I'm thinking that may be a hairy bear, but what do I know? In 1935, a group of hunters in the Uwharrie Mountains claimed to have seen a Wampus cat that was about the size of a panther. And Uwharrie's allegedly place for lots of Bigfoot stuff.
Yeah.
So
these are huge cats.
Yeah, that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
So there's really no scientific evidence to support the idea of a Wampus cat or a Wampus cat in general, but many people in North Carolina believe the creature to be real. So it's part of our state's folklore, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's what they say about some of the details. It's about the size of a bear or a panther, sharp teeth and claws, covered in a long, shaggy coat.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be nocturnal. It's supposed to be very aggressive and dangerous.
Yeah, that reminds me of
What?
like a giant Maine Coon, because they have a Maine Coon cat is a large domesticated cat, but it's huge and it's very shaggy. And every experience I've had with a Maine Coon, they've been aggressive.
Yeah, but all of them will get their ass kicked by a bobcat.
Yeah, that's true. But imagine a giant one, because
Imagine a hairy bobcat.
like super hairy, because they're saying shaggy coat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like as long as like a Himalayan or a Maine Coon, but the size of a bear. So
That's a big cat.
yeah, big floofy poof of anger.
Yes. So, doing a little bit of research and looking into it, allegedly in, our local area, there's some information about a Wampus cat attack in Marion, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So as I clicked the link waiting for it to load, because I thought I already had it loaded, they're saying that in August of 1932, the local newspaper reported that a suspected Wampus, right, had slashed and mangled more than 40 dogs in and around Marion. So the bloodthirsty animal, according to the eyewitness, had long, slim legs, sharp pointed ears, and a large head. The beast was never killed or apprehended, though, although it surfaced in a spate of additional stories. And some speculated, right, that it was a hyena that escaped from the zoo.
Oh, wow. What do you know?
Yeah. So whatever it was hardly an isolated specter. So during the 1920s and 30s, they kept reporting that a Wampus cat was killing livestock in North America. North Carolina all the way down to Georgia. So, I don't know.
Our local news did a really good article that included the Cherokee legend about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And see, that's the thing. Cherokee has been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Probably longer than traveling zoos have been here.
Yeah.
And they also say that this thing can basically run on all fours or two legs. So it gets a little convoluted. So, what point is what? But here's the deal. They say that you can see this thing, or the possibility of seeing a Wampus cat happens in different places, right?
Yeah.
North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, Washington, Oregon, and California. Yeah. Now, the one thing I didn't do was look for dogman sightings in those particular areas to see if there's a spate.
Well, we already know the answer for all of those except for Oregon and kind of California. All of those have dogman sightings.
Yeah.
Like, not frequently for Oregon and California, but North Carolina, Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, definitely. Washington, maybe. But all those lower states have dogman sightings.
Yeah.
So...
And, dogman, werewolf, what is it, right?
It depends on the part of California where I'm hesitant to say probably,
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. So we, figured we'd slip in some North Carolina cryptids every so often because I think there's a lot of stuff out there. Now, this could also be related to the Beast of Bladenboro, which basically is sort of it's a Wampus cat sighting. They just called it the Beast of Bladenboro because it happened in Bladenboro.
And, well, okay, so that's the thing.
Right.
I had never heard of the Wampus cat being out in this area until about a year of us being here, and then people would be like, have you heard of the Wampus cat? And I'm like, no, I had somebody tell me about it in Georgia, and then I'd be in Georgia, and somebody who lived in North Carolina would be in Georgia and tell me about it.
Yeah, it's all attached by the mountains.
Yeah.
So thought that was kind of neat, doing a little talking about the old Wampus cat. But, Wampus cat's kind of not a scary kind of... it's not, like, ooh, have you heard of the Wampus cat? Whatever, man.
Well, like...
have you ever heard of the razor-clawed, mountain lion monster cat? That'd be scary. Why don't they just call it monster cat?
But that's some of the stories that you get is like, they felt like it was stalking them in the woods.
Yeah, as big cats do.
Yeah.
So, every time you go out in the woods, you're afraid of mountain lions. So... I don't know. I guess if you got to be on the alert, pick an animal that scares you and be on the lookout for it because you might see other stuff. Like that big ass snake I basically went running across my legs when I was weed eating a ditch. I didn't even see it.
For me,
I could have been killed to death.
No.
No, I wasn't, but I could have. I think it latched onto me.
Did you know if it was venomous or not?
No.
Okay.
Does it matter?
It's funny.
It only matters after the fact.
That thing looked red and gray in your TikTok video, or the video that you shared. And then as I was walking up and down the driveway, I just managed to accidentally kick it with my foot, a piece of branch and that had been rained on. And the rain turned part of the torn branch like a nice reddish brown color. So for a moment there, the bark and then the reddish brown of the branch made it look like the pattern on that snake. And I actually jumped back a bit. I was like,
I thought you were trying to refute my freaking video.
No, I was like, wow, that matches really well.
Yeah, that thing, it came out of nowhere, man. I was like, whoa. Yeah, anyway, I didn't kill him or anything. And it came at me when I tried to, I was going to do a little video and get a little closer. Because I'm swinging a weed eater around, got a little wheezy with allergies and stuff. I'm like, I'm going to film this guy. So I got up on him and he started coming at me and I thought I was recording. I had stopped the video thinking that I thought I had stopped the video before because I was trying to get through the ditch to follow the snake because he was pretty fast. And so what I wound up doing was actually stopped my recording thinking that I was started I'm like, you moron. So anyway, it was scary. Yeah. I'm all right though. I still got allergies. There's stuff flying around. So speaking of allergies, guess what's happening in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina, finally?
What?
They're going to start policing again.
Oh.
Like officially. See, North Carolina is a nice place. And they have a place called Asheville, North Carolina, who basically, shockingly, they compare to the Seattle of the West or of the East or something like that.
No, Portland of the East.
Yeah, and so they've had like the protesters and all that sort of thing, and vandalism and camps and all that, and it seemed like at one point they just really weren't doing a whole lot about it.
I mean, they had like 1/3 of their police staff resign at one point.
Yeah, because the whole defund the police movement, which I don't care what side you're on or whatever. That's stupid because people out there will do bad stuff, right? So you're going to need some kind of protection or something, right? Hopefully to come save you, but at the same time, I mean, there are some changes that definitely need to be made when it comes to police departments and hiring practices and stuff like that. Because when you see comparisons that, for example, I had to attend like in cosmetology school or even barber school, you go to school longer to learn how to cut somebody's hair than become a police officer.
Yeah.
That's not right. And I did a lot of the base police stuff when I was in the Navy. So we went through academy and training and stuff to be able to carry the weapons and everything that we had to do to act as a base police/police officer and security action force. And we were even on the list to be called if the police because this was in California, right, when I was in San Diego. Mm-hmm. If the police had a problem, they could call and tap us to go help them. And that training was way longer than the average police academy training. So there definitely needs to be something done. But so they finally officially decided they're tired of the violence in the wake of the defund police movement.
And see, this is in the wake of the defund police movement, but this also speaks to a higher civic problem. Like they're trying to roll out this.
Right. What happens when you defund the police?
What's the name of this? It's the Community Responder Pilot Program and Downtown Safety Initiative, where within the end of 60 days, not just addressing the crime issue, but common sense things like street lights being out.
Yeah, this is why I put this in here.
It's not.
And
safe
it's not
to
to pick on. It's not. We're not picking on. Well, yeah, actually, I am. I am picking on Asheville a little bit because the basic common sense things that don't seem like they should have been lumped into the whole let's get policing again. The common sense, like maintenance issues and things like that. All of the stuff that they just sort of either ignored or turned a blame. I'm just aggravated that the money that they have, they didn't put towards maintaining the infrastructure of that downtown.
Yeah, because, opportunistic crime typically sometimes...
Be careful. You're not going to win
I know.
Whichever side you mean.
Opportunistic crime tends to not be violent. However...
Right. Well, let's explain what opportunistic crime is to people who may or may not know.
Well, let me finish. So... opportunistic crime tends to not be violent in nature, as in assaults or harming and bodily injury. However, the lack of care the city has provided for itself and its businesses has created too many opportunities.
Yes.
Now, those opportunities, if a whole block doesn't have streetlights and half that block has businesses that are open at late hours, early hours, what have you, people are going to rob those places. They are, because...
they're going to rob the places. They're going to rob the people. They're going to higher levels of vandalism. Opportunistic crime, you're right, doesn't typically normally become violent. It's just, they look at it in the grand scheme of things as just being more nuisance related. Yeah. Like having my window smashed out and all my stuff stolen, having my storefront broken into, human fecal poop on the streets. Yeah. Blatant out in the daylight drug use, things like that, right? Yeah. And they say, oh, well, it's not violent. Well, that's okay. So you kind of got to police the small things to keep the big things from happening.
And to say that, to speak to this whole Asheville is the Portland of the East, I looked up Portland's population and Albuquerque's, by the way. Portland is over 659,000 people. Albuquerque is 500 and something thousand people. So those are big, slightly metropolitan, yet still quirky cities. And to compare this tiny 90,000 people city to larger metropolitan areas that have much larger needs is inexcusable, because Asheville racks in revenue. They should be able to address these problems, not just with the police, but the street lights, making sure new businesses stay safe while they open up.
Yeah, it's basically just doing business. Yeah. It's what you should be doing regardless of whatever situation. Okay, so the violent crime in Asheville, a town of approximately 90,000 people in the Blue Ridge Mountains, has surged in recent years. Aggravated assaults rose by 21.8%, armed robberies by 20%.
which is
from 2022.
Worse than Albuquerque.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, it's all a problem of scale, but at the same time, when you have the same sort of instances happening like in Seattle, and we're going to leave Albuquerque out of it because Albuquerque has always had opportunistic crime.
Yeah,
so that's nothing new for them, right? But the thing is that they stopped doing the basic everyday policing because of defunding and everything else. So they're going to monitor the areas for vagrancy, drug use, crimes. Right? Mm-hmm. Like the parking garage stairwells and stuff that have been hot spots, like problem areas they obviously know are problems, right? And my point is like they're launching this program to basically put a public face like we're doing something about crime. It's like you should have been doing it to begin with. This shouldn't have never become an issue. You don't get a medal for this. You don't get a medal for doing what you should have been doing. During this 60-day period, city staff will be tracking and testing actions, hoping to make downtown safer. Like you were saying, like we're going to make sure the streetlights have light bulbs in them. We're going to eliminate the dark areas. We're going to tell people to lock their cars, and they're going to do all this stuff. And my problem is, they knew this was here, and they let it go. Mm-hmm. They should have basically said, no, we're going to keep policing, but then they took their money away. It doesn't make much sense as far as, like, why they're doing it now. Especially when most of this is, like, supposed to be kind of over, right?
So I think with 2022 and the beginning of this year so far, there has been a significant drop in tourism. I subscribe to Asheville's primary newspaper, which costs an arm and a leg. But what I've noticed is they are now doing weekly announcements of what small businesses, restaurants, and clubs have closed within the past week or so.
Yeah.
So they're not dragging in tourists because this is supposed to be the East Coast. It's supposed to be a different vibe. It's supposed to be
that's
Blue Ridge Mountains.
You don't have to say all that. You can just say money. The money is kind of going away. So there was a report called the Downtown Problem Solving Initiative, right? Which they were assessing with the city police, like Buncombe County sheriffs, and patrolling downtown to see what's going on. The approach we're taking is data-driven. You know what that means? Mm-hmm. We're going to leave people's ideologies and everything out of it, right? Because they don't want to be compared to Seattle. We're taking a data-driven and driven primarily with what we've seen with the rise in violent crime all of a sudden, right? And also property crime. So they want to maintain visibility after more than 100 officers have left since May 2020. So why does a police officer leave? They don't typically leave because it's so freaking dangerous. They leave because they're not getting support. Mm-hmm. Same reason why teachers leave. Yeah. Teachers will teach in dangerous areas, but when they stop getting support and they don't see the common sense things occurring, they leave.
Yeah.
And it's aggravating because downtown Asheville is a nice place. I mean, I'm not going there.
Well,
why would you? But it's sad that it's money is what's making these changes occur all of a sudden.
And that's part of it. I mean, the whole money situation, the whole, look, this community is no longer thriving. Businesses are no longer thriving. I had a couple of people over the past 2 or 3 years, say some things about why doesn't Asheville have a Bigfoot festival instead of going all the way to Marion, or people from Knoxville. They're like, Asheville should have a UFO festival. I mean, it's right there along the parkway. Well, this is one of those reasons.
Yeah, because they're trying to paint the downtown as being something that it's not. So. And, I bring this up because I've been coming in and out of this area my entire life. We have family here. Yeah. And I've seen it from the 70s until now, and I've seen the change where people have been coming from other places, and, it's sort of changed the way it is, and it's grown the way it has because of, people come from other places and other communities and other states and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And it is sad. Being so close to the Blue Ridge Mountains and, all that stuff that you have to do around here, right?
Yeah.
That you can't really go down to downtown. And it's not that it's like the most dangerous place or whatever, but it's just like, why did it get so far into this sort of thing? And it's basically local leadership down there that needs to change, man. And that's something too. Like, why don't they have like a Bigfoot festival? And why don't they have like UFOs? Because they don't want to change the view that they've so carefully cultivated over the past 20, 30 years of being a place to show up where it's basically forward thinking and progressive and modern. We are nestled in the mountains. It's a wonderful, beautiful place, but we're modern. We're current. We got internet. We got all the stuff that you could go to another bigger city and experience, but with a small town kind of attitude. And you got people like Annie McDowell moving here and, famous people. She's been here for a long, long time because she's got family. But this took way too long to happen. Yeah. I mean, even some of the lackluster laws that were put in place by one of our friends who now owns a bar. It wasn't a bar then. During the pandemic, couldn't even be open. Yeah. Because of one line in the code that basically said, oh, well, technically, we can't let you open because you're not a bar. Oh, but wait, now you meet the criteria of being a bar, but you're selling liquor. Yeah. Well, can't do that. And they just continue to try to drive businesses out of the downtown because they want to create this sort of perception. Yeah. You're like, oh, yeah, can't have a tattoo place, can't have a beer place, can't have a, oh, no. We want it to be upscale.
The perception's so ruined. Now they can't even have, like I said, a UFO festival like Knoxville, or even the other weekend there was a plant and herb festival. Yeah.
We actually looked into it to see if maybe we could have some kind of like event down there, like, hey, let's do something like that. And they were like, no, you can't. Nope. The rules say that you could have a flea market, but you can't have, they're like, okay. Okay. And the flea market had to have a certain amount of like handmade crafts. Mm-hmm. It's like, I see what you're doing. Yeah. We want you to come down and enjoy our local art painted by local artisans and mailbox koozies and everything. But you talk about a UFO, boy, that's it. Mm-hmm. But the sad thing is that if you did have a UFO festival, Cryptid, whatever, like downtown, and you had a bunch of people show up and they spent a bunch of money, they'd be like, come on back next year. Exactly. How can we help you? Yeah. We'll fix those streetlights, including all the purple ones. Or the blue ones.
That's the thing. All these little smaller festivals for paranormal and weird things, they're all taking place in these smaller towns. Yeah. And people don't want to go to the smaller town unless it's like a blowout event. Yeah. So, yeah.
I don't know. Just thought it was kind of aggravating. And, I'm not saying don't come here because you've got the Smoky Mountains, Blue Ridge Parkway, all that stuff. Yeah. And there's plenty of like, Bigfoot, cryptid stuff, weird stuff. Come check out. Got a little local haunted history and all that. I'm just like, oh, finally, let's do something. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's kind of a gift to be able to go here and see some of this stuff, because if you don't really know, like with North Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. You don't really think there's anything going on here. It's like, we've got haunted stuff, we've got cryptid stuff, we've got UFO stuff, we've got deep underground military bases and all sorts of crazy things that are all in this area. Mm-hmm. We got the most, Blue Ridge Parkway, and like I said, the Smoky Mountains, and the highest point east of the Mississippi, and also the crazy stuff. And it's like there's old stuff here, right? With the Appalachian Trail and just Appalachia in general, there's old stuff here. Mm-hmm. Why not come here? It's an amazing place. It's a gift. And speaking of gift, here's 25 gifts for fans of the paranormal. You ready?
Yeah, I saw this. And I was like,
I'm not going to talk about all 25 of them because a lot of them are books and who wants to read. You know what I mean?
Well, one of them is one that I've had in my favorites for a while, but
Is it the Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Head Vodka?
No, it's the authentic York Ghost, and every time they update their shop, they're sold out in hours. So
where you can buy a little ghost?
Yeah. So.
Well, if you're looking for gifts to buy your paranormal enthusiast or paranormal fan or probably paranormal investigator or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. These are some things that they might be interested in having. Like here's one, a scrying mirror.
Yeah, that would make a great gift.
Yeah. It's a divination tool. So it's for divination and communication. It's basically like a mirror, right? This is a scrying mirror. It's a scrying mirror that can be useful for ghost hunters to connect with paranormal, potentially capture evidence of supernatural activity. At the very least, it'll give your ghost hunting friends a chance to try it out.
I had a really nice scrying mirror, but the first place we moved into together, the entity that was living there did not like it.
Yes. So. And scrying mirrors aren't like regular mirrors, so you have to kind of do a little bit of research on that. Yeah. Here's something that's can, I guess, go for paranormal / just in general, a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because if you're using audio equipment, right, to try to capture electronic voice phenomenon, and other sounds that may indicate paranormal activity, a Bluetooth speaker can be used to play back the recordings in real time so that everybody can hear it. If you're capturing with a device that has Bluetooth. You know what I mean? And you can find everything we talk about in the show notes with all the links and articles and stuff that we talk about, so you can kind of check it out. And this is off higgypop.com.
Yeah.
Dowsing rods are pretty cool. You can pick those up.
You can even make them.
Yeah. But, I mean, why make them? You can just buy them. They'll look better than what you can make.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, dowsing rod's pretty cool because people use them to try to find water, like in the wells, like for digging wells and just groundwater in general. Mm-hmm. But they could also be used to attempt to communicate to ghosts.
Ghosts, high spirit energies, and allegedly portals have been found using dowsing rods.
And when the tips cross or when the rods close together, then you've got a response. So, yeah. You can buy a couple of books and stuff. We don't care about that. But Authentic York Ghost is what you were talking about.
Yeah, these are super cute, and I've wanted one for a while. But every time I try to look for them, either the shop's sold out or I can't get them. So
yeah, they're like little figurines or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't really get a little ghost. It's just basically a figurine of a ghost. So it's kind of like having an action figure of a ghost. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty neat. And then here's something that's probably pretty cool, or would be pretty cool. You can get them a ghost hunting experience.
Yeah.
We can buy them a ticket, say, show up here and you can go on a ghost hunt. Right.
That's a little bit of an expensive gift.
It could be, but I mean, some ghost hunts are like $15, $20, $50. I mean, you got to look around.
Yeah.
Some of the more expensive ones are like, we're going to take you on this ghost adventure in New Orleans where you can pay $5,000 and go hang out with real life ghost hunting people that you see on television. Or, hey, take a cruise, that kind of thing. Go somewhere with all the ghost people. So, whatever. It's pretty cool. So, you can get them a voucher for a ghost hunting experience. Even with that, you can do like a ghost bus tour. You can ride around.
Yeah.
Like on a bus or a wagon or a carriage or whatever, like we did in New Orleans. But that was supposed to be historical, but it turned into ghost. Because, which was cool because the other couple that was there was all into it. So,
yeah.
Ghost walking tours, those are kind of cool. You can do those. We've done a couple of them, including kind of had one for New Year's. But, you can buy Ghostbusters merchandise. And the only reason why I bring this one up is because they have the Spirit Guide that you can buy. Tobin's Spirit Guide, which is not a real book, but, anyway. Let's do two more. We already talked about ghost walks, so you can walk around. You can get them an online paranormal course.
I kind of like
so that. If you want to, well, yeah, I mean, but it's like, hey, I got you some homework to do in a course. So, I mean, that's kind of cool, sure. This one I thought was kind of goofy, but it makes sense. Fingerless gloves.
That's just a good gift for anybody.
Yeah, keep your hands mostly warm, And then if you need to jump on the old computer and type out some stuff, then, there you go.
Those are on my list every year, so.
Yeah. Well, that's because you get them and then they want to lost like socks. You just have one.
Yeah.
Some of these I don't necessarily think that you should probably be getting like tarot cards. Unless, they're sort of a deal. To me, it's kind of right up there with like Ouija boards, tarot cards, scrying mirror,
And see, that's the thing. Scrying mirror and Ouija board, unless you have a good relationship with the person and they're seeking something and you think you have a good idea for them, then maybe. Tarot cards, though, I kind of think that's like a personal decision.
I mean, yeah, sure, it could be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't like the idea of just handing somebody, here you go, now you can try to communicate with the dead. Because then it's like there was a school, and I think it was Indonesia, where there's like 25 anxiety-related incidents with students because of Ouija board.
Okay.
People are like, what, do you really think a toy made by Parker Brothers is that's going to... No, it's intent. That's what people don't, I think, understand. The intent of the Ouija board, it's not made as a fun game. It's made for spirit communication / divination. That was the entire intent that they made this, because it came out when it was cool to try to do seances and stuff. That thing is purpose-built for that. Yeah. Regardless of what the construction of the materials are when it was made, that was its intent.
Yeah.
There's difference, I think the intent makes the thing, when it comes to this sort of thing. I guess it just makes the...
Yeah.
But these are fun. Cat balls. Yeah. Little glow in the dark. light up with LEDs, motion activated, vibration activated little balls. You can set them on there. You know, you have a little button on them, turn them on, turn them off, and you can set them down and act like kind of a REM pod without all that annoying sound. So that's about all we're going to talk about for the 25 ghosty toys or paranormal gifts. But some of them are pretty cool. But there are lots of books and stuff that you can get too. If you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get them a nice audio recorder. Which it's about $100, you know. And people keep showing pictures of the Tascam.
That's what I was going to say.
Get the Tascam. It's like, why? Just get a freaking Zoom.
And then
H1N and be done with it.
Did you see on that article, Zoom is the second from last one that gets listed?
Yeah.
And then all the ones before, I'm like, no, would not recommend. Do not recommend. So
some people say get the cheapest one because you get better results. Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. So then you get to try to listen to it and hear the terrible quality.
Ghosts manipulate the noise.
Yeah. So does your mind. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can get them a flashlight and loosen it up a little bit so the ghost can communicate by tapping it. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff. But if you're looking for something that's safe, you know, because you're like, well, they're interested in, but I don't want them to get possessed or something crazy like that. And, you know, get them some dumb stuff, some fingerless gloves, get them a little flashlight, you know, audio recorder, just get them a tour, you know, maybe put on by the Historical Society or something like that. You know, there you go. And it probably works for kids too. If you're trying to be open-minded about the entire thing. You know, it wasn't but 100 years ago. You'd probably just be beat to death by your parents for even attempting to jump on the paranormal. Right?
No, because 100 years ago, it was 1920s, and spiritualism was very popular in America.
Not down south. Mm-hmm. Not in certain places down south. You get there's some God-fearing people that, you know, they don't want no part of that.
But we got to think about that, though. 100 years ago is now the 1920s.
Yep. Yeah. Or in the last century. So we're going to write out the podcast with something I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A little fun. It's kind of strange, but it's like, this is the world we live in. Technology's for everything, not just people. Right?
Okay.
Oh, let's do this. We did talk in the podcast a little while ago about Ghost Hunts USA and the problem they were having.
Yeah.
Well, evidently they're closed.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not doing it anymore. This is according to thehauntedlibrarian.com. So they put out some, Ghost Hunts USA put out a message that basically said, after 9 years of everything paranormal, we've made the tough decision to close Ghost Hunts USA effective immediately.
Wow.
And they go so far as to say that if you booked a tour and you want your money back, contact your credit card manufacturer or provider.
Yeah.
Which means they don't got the money to give you. This is the way I'm looking at it. I might be wrong.
No, that's.
But the guy, one of the head dude was like a scam guy from England. So I wonder where all that money went.
He had been up on charges in the UK for
fraud and embezzlement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to kind of touch on that. But this was kind of a fun thing with the whole technologies.
Yeah.
All right. So over the past 3 years, you know, video calls became important, Zoom meetings and things like that. So basically video over the internet.
Okay.
Has sort of been improved. You know, because you can't have video calls and expect kids to go to school from your house without having good internet, good connection, that sort of thing, right?
So video conferencing.
Yeah. So when I came across this article, it basically said researchers teach parrots, like the birds, parrots, to make video calls.
That's pretty cool.
Parrots are very smart. And last a long time. So don't ever buy one just as like we think it's going to be a throwaway gift. Like, oh, it looks good. A parrot can live like 50 years. Some of them even longer.
Yeah. And so they're very chatty. They like to talk.
Well, they're smart. Yeah. They communicate, right?
Yeah.
So researchers from the United States and Scotland said they taught pet parrots how to make video calls. And here's the best part. And the birds developed long-distance friendships.
Aww. So
these birds can like talk to each other. So this is on UPI.com. The team composed of researchers from Northeastern University, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and University of Glasgow basically released a study titled Birds of a Feather, Video Flock Together.
Puns.
Yeah. Design and evaluation of an agency-based parrot-to-parrot video calling system for interspecies ethical enrichment.
That's cool, though.
That's where they get the money. See, because if you said, hey, we need money.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because we want to do a program called Birds of a Feather Video Flock Together. You're not going to get any money. But when you say design and evaluation of an agency-based parrot-to-parrot video calling system for interspecies ethical enrichment, take my money.
So agency-based means that their findings concluded that the parrots are using their own agency to decide to call each other.
Yes.
And that results in the ethical enrichment of these animals.
So when you see like videos of dogs and cats watching TV,
yeah,
they know what time it is.
Yeah.
They know it's TV.
I guess Pepper doesn't like anything we watch.
Pepper doesn't care.
She just does not
She's
like
this
any
does
of our
not
shows.
concern me. I did see her get interested one time in a squirrel on television, but then that was about it.
You know what though?
So,
when we used to go to work all day and leave PBS on, she would watch PBS.
Yeah.
So
that's something too. If you're going to leave your animal alone, like a dog or whatever, leave a freaking TV on. Mm-hmm. People are like, well, I don't want to spend any electricity. It's like, dude, if you have like a more of a modern television, your annual usage cost is like $60 at the most, divided over 365 days. Leave a radio on, leave a TV on. What's it hurt?
Yeah.
But try not to leave it on scary stuff.
Yeah.
Kids channels work.
Yeah.
Use a little kids channel. But the researchers said that the parrots started to develop friendships through the video calls, and they showed preferences for repeatedly placing the video calls to the same long distance companion. So that's the sort of the trigger for me.
Yeah.
Like, there's something to this, because they're like, I don't like that bird. I'm not calling that bird. I like this bird. Let me keep calling this guy. What you think they're animals, right? They should just be happy.
Yeah.
You put them together or whatever. They should just be happy just to see another animal. No, they're smart enough to go, that guy's an ass. I don't like that guy. That bird sucks. I'm not calling that bird no more.
It'd be funny if all the green and African gray parrots only called each other, because grays and green parrots are notorious for picking up on offensive language rather quickly.
Well, yeah.
Those particular birds. So I could just imagine them only calling in between themselves.
That's because they're smart enough. They
and
hear it all the
trading
time.
each other bad words.
Yeah. Yeah, if you hear it enough, because kids will do it too. Yeah. They're like, oh, this is a good word. So the study suggested that the bird-to-bird video calls can improve the behavior and well-being of parrots that are being kept as pets. Because parrots aren't really singular animals, man. They thrive in flocks.
Yeah.
So if you've got a parrot just hanging out in that cage by itself, just sitting there where it's going to basically languish in prison for 50 years, get him a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when they're kept as pets, they're very often the only bird in the household. And so they don't have the opportunity to develop their own species identity.
That makes me just want to set up an older phone just to give a bird like a better life. The
bird doesn't want to talk to you. The bird wants to talk to another bird.
But if they
we don't even have good enough internet to do that.
I know. That's so sad.
We can't even video our own friends.
I know.
Because it's like, and then it just tears away and there's nothing left. Just video tearing.
You can't even take like a regular phone call for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, so just by the time the bird got into it. Yeah, but there is a video though. I don't know if I can play any of this. Maybe I'll try. I got it turned down. I don't know. I'm not hearing anything. I guess I can't play it. Oh, wait. Maybe it's muted. No, it is not muted. But anyway, it showed, there's a video, right? And like I said, our show notes have links. There's a link, and you can click and go to YouTube, or you can see the bird basically talking to the other bird, and they're like trying to smooch each other, which is, and they don't know what they're saying. It could be a terrible thing. Please help me. I'm so lonely. I can't get out of this cage. So I don't know. There you go. That's the heartwarming, article that we're going to stop the podcast with. Because it was either going to be that or British man breaks world record with 17 flesh tunnels on his face.
Oh, no.
Yes. So I'm like, oh, wow. So there you go.
That's awful.
Yeah. There's another one that says missing dog found 6 years later, 470 miles away from home. So somebody found him and took him home, and he became their pet for a while. So I don't know. Anyway, I think that's about all we're going to talk about with this particular podcast. So we do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us.
Yep.
As I try to adjust myself.
Find us on social media. We are all over all major platforms. So Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Find us CreepGeeks Podcast. Real easy. We are looking to try to grow our Facebook group. So please come join us on our Facebook group. We share mostly memes and occasionally ideas for the show. We're looking for more users that are active in show and episode suggestions. So come on, join and say hello. Links in the show notes.
Yeah. Alrighty. So there you go. So I think we're probably going to continue talking about some North Carolina cryptids and some other stuff, and we're going to put out another podcast episode here real soon. So we do appreciate you taking the time to listen and stop on by. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, just let us know. But anyway, see you later. Take it easy. Bye, Sickle.
Bye.